of getting a medical red shirt, or when do you look at that for like a Swindle or a Fackrell or some of those guys the whole season?
In terms of what?
The medical red shirt. Have you thought about getting a medical red shirt for Swindle that missed all of last year?
Well, when you get a medical red shirt, that is now in terms of I missed 2 seasons
Right.
for medical reasons from a physical standpoint, and those two guys haven't. They're fifth-year seniors this year. You have to have 2 seasons you lost because of an injury. Does that make sense?
You get to the point in training camp where you do the step back and you see what's got to be tweaked and so forth. Isn't that always routine? Usually there's tweaks that are routine.
You do, yeah.
You never know what they're going to be.
No, and you have it's a little bit of a process, Craig, where you go like, to me, I call it scrimmage 1 evaluation. Scrimmage 2, you're getting closer to it. Scrimmage 3, you're making decisions. After that third scrimmage, coaches are coming here and we will grade the tape and see where we're at. But you're grading the tape, but you're making decisions. Who's traveling? Who's in that? Who's that? That fifth wideout. Who's that sixth wideout? Who's that? That nickel or the dime or this or that. You're making decisions. You're evaluating earlier in training camp. The closer you get to the end of training camp, becomes decision time. And right in that second and third week of training camp, you start to say, all right, who are we really? To me, the what we do will never change at Utah State. That's to me the foundation of who we are, the way we recruit, the way we develop, the way we play with the hard edge, being football junkies. We're tough guys, we're blue collar. That will never, ever, ever can't change at Utah State. Now, sometimes the how we do things, you know what? May have to play a little bit more zone coverage this year. Okay? Has nothing to do with the corners. May have something to do with pass rush. Play more man coverage. Okay? You may play in more 3 tight end sets. You may play in more 21 personnel with the fullback. You may play in more 4 wides. It's different every year a little bit what you're going to major in. The how may change just a little bit, what it looks like. You'll tweak that because that's what you have to do. Just like we've done when we've had injuries the last 2 seasons.
You said something recently, we played more and more man these recent years. So what's dictated that?
Well, we played more man in 2002 and a little bit in 13 and probably a little bit more zone last year, whether it was corners, a technique or a skill set that's better, off man versus press man, whether it's, hey, we're more effective in getting home from a pressure. We can get home in more 4-man pressures. Okay? We have to get home in 5-man pressures. So you start adding those numbers up, there's not very many more DBs back there, So I just think it depends on your skill set and what guys are best at, whether it's back end or it's more pressuring the quarterback. So we'll see.
I don't know if you can really answer this right now, but you were talking about how nobody really asked about Jalen Davis heading into the season last year. But at this point, what can you tell me about what newcomers Aggie fans can expect to make immediate contributions?
Yeah, it's a fair question, good question. I get asked at every stop at the Aggie Caravan through May, so I'm gonna give you probably the 10th different answer that I've given in all those stops. So, no, when I think of that, I think of a guy that's probably been in the program a couple years, that's maybe been playing on teams or been more of a part-time guy that's going to become a bigger role. I think of guys like Devin Centers, who's really done a tremendous job of progressing through this program from a red shirt to a special teams kid that was really a phenom, really our first year here, and morphed into a nickel spot, another safety spot, still a great special teams player, competing for a starting role at safety in a full-time role. Seen him back there quite a bit. You don't have that many PBUs and not be on the field, so it's not like the kid hadn't got on the field.
Yeah.
But to say you're competing for a starting job and I'm going to have a chance to win it if he goes out and wins it, I think that's big, and there was a little bit of a 3-way rotation there with those guys last year. I think of guys like that. I think of, maybe Devontae Robinson having a bigger role on offense, if he earns that. Maybe who's the running back that's really going to take charge, or are we going to be in a 2 or 3 man rotation, which is fun because we've done that since we've been here at running back. I think of an old lineman that maybe people don't, maybe know as much, whether it's an Austin Albrecht, moving himself. Maybe it's a grad transfer that we got coming in. I think of guys like that a little bit. Maybe a young D lineman that gets a chance. It may be Ricky Leafua that really everybody's like, oh my goodness, this guy's a beast. And I mean, that's a kid that had a great summer. I'm excited to watch Ricky. Been a great leader for our front seven on defense. So it's maybe a young linebacker, so we'll see.